oh boy, do I have the bout of the century for you. You rarely ever see this type of event when two locals go and fight against each other, when two locals start beefing with one another. But today is a good day because we do have local beef, and it's just a wonderful thing to see. What I want to talk about is, the greatest locale of the past versus the greatest locale of today, Gaming for Hope versus the Faithful Sheriff, because I guess they have beef with each other at somehow that in the past like couple of days they started beefing with one another. Now, from what I understand, the reason why this beef started happening in the first place is because Gaming for Hope has been playing Overwatch as of recently. He or not ever recently, like over the last year or so. So he's been kind of he's become the locale of the Overwatch community. And I guess the faithful sheriff, who's also known as Doctor Witnesser, has decided that he might move on from trying to get kids to join Ice on Fortnite to trying to get kids to join Ice on Overwatch or something like that. I haven't seen any clips of the faithful sheriff in Overwatch, but he might be doing some market research and trying to float the idea of moving over to this game. And so I think this entire Reddit post like headline kind of just shows how people are treating this situation overall, and just like how seriously people are taking this beef that they got, where it says gaming for hope brutally Christian mugs number 11 ranked Jesus Massacre the faithful sheriff, TFS relegated to Judas Goon status. And this is the tweet that they're talking about. I'll go to the actual tweet right here, where it's Gaming for Hope posted that he's full sending it, and that he's going on to leave his 9 to 5 to do content creation full time. And then this guy, who I presume is a Burnt Peanut fan, looking at his profile picture, says, "Now that you're full time, you should work with more creators. The Faithful Share is a Christian Overwatch creator. I'd love to see you guys play." Now, once again, I think this guy also might just be fucking around, because that's just an all time image, a profile picture for someone to have. And then he says, "The dude has no business calling himself a Christian. I will not be collaborating with him." And the faithful sheriff came in and replied, "The fact that you even said this proves that you're an agent of Satan, buddy." And as you can see, people are taking this in a really great way, and they're just running with it because it is the two low accounts of communities fighting with one another. I mean, for those who don't know, David, I was gonna say David Orlick because it's his name right there. Gaming for Hope is like another one of these like Christian YouTubers. I don't know if he's as like brazen and as annoying about it as the faithful sheriff is. Like, I don't know if he's telling like kids that they're going to hell for not believing in religion, like trying to convert people on Fortnite. I don't think I've ever seen anything of him doing that, at least for Gaming for Hope. But maybe he has in the past, because the Game for Hope very famously is a meme, and his low calorie goes many months in the past, maybe even like years in the past. I think for those who don't know Game for Hope, you've probably seen this image though of a YouTube video that he made, just covering a bunch of controversies that he was apparently in, where he had to cover neglecting his children, anti-LGBTQIA, Nazi, KKK member, unemployed, which grew me my wife. I feel like unemployed doesn't need to be there. But yeah, so that's, you've probably seen this image of him right here. But you have the two chuds fighting for each other, or fighting against each other for who is the better Jesus follower, who is the better Christian in this world. And I think the faithful sheriff coming in and saying that Game for Hope is an agent of Satan proves that he is a very aggressive, and trying to prove that he is number one Christian maxer in the world. And so people are obviously fucking around with them, fucking around with the not the burn peanut, Jesus, the faithful sheriff. Sorry, where someone in his chat said, "Back off Game for Hope, or you're gonna get slime." Where people are just like entirely messing around with the faithful sheriff, and like I assume too. I'm not gonna say this is 100% true, but looking at this person's message too, Sheriff, don't worry about these stupid violent people. People are kind of just all larping and role playing, and kind of just like making fun of the faithful sheriff by like acting like they're a big fan of him and like part of his community when they're actually not, and they're kind of just fucking with him and just playing into the bit of they're all like good Catholic followers, Christian followers, and they're ready to launch some faithful sheriff, spread the good word. But this is also a really funny picture from this account right here. And then they also posted another one, which is the faithful sheriff is actually addressing the controversy. He's talking about the beef that Gaming for Hope and himself have with one another. So let's see what the faithful sheriff has to say about this.
My chat and tell me ease up off of Gaming for Hope when he's the guy that started the whole thing. So don't come. You do see me going into his Twitch chat and saying, "Hey, lay off of me, Gaming for Hope." Do you see me going in there and sending my supporters into his chat and talking smack? No. fact, it really shows you the character development, the character of his supporters and himself starting this crap into my Twitch chat in the first place. So keep that in mind when you're talking smack in my chat. You come into my
And so it looks like, the faithful sheriff is gonna AI generate another wanted picture on his bullshit shit AI generated background, which I guess he can't do now because Sora is shutting down. But he's gonna have one for Gaming for Hope, and you can really tell that this entire situation is just the result of people instigating a controversy or a fight between two people who just they both see as lolcows, because people are it's literally just like if two people are kind of like talking shit and you say, oh, you're gonna let them say that, what are you gonna do about it, what are you gonna do about it, that's what people are doing when they're coming into like the faithful sheriff chat. We're saying, hey, did you see what Gaming for Hope, Gaming for Hope's a better guy than you, you're gonna respond to the Gaming for Hope allegations, what are you gonna say about Gaming for Hope, when all that Gaming for Hope said is just like, this guy is not as a good Christian. And then the faithful sheriff came in from the fucking top rope and said, you're actually an agent of Satan because you said that to me, which I guess is like, it feels like he's trying to LARP as an inquisitor when he comes in and says that. I feel like that's what he kind of like thought he was. He put on like the helmet or whatever, the white garb, and just said, let's get ready to kill an innocent person because they disagree with me. It's literally what it kind of feels like. And it's like, this is a funny TikTok that I saw that shows, the people just fucking around doing the reactions of it, where, the Overwatch fans are getting defensive of their own locale. They want to keep their own locale. They're trying to fend off any hatred coming from their locale from a foreign invader of a locale.
It's official. Dr. Chud, also known as the Faithful Sheriff, has started playing Overwatch. And as a message to you, Dr. Chud, we do not want you here. If you don't know, the Faithful Sheriff, also known as Dr. Chud, also known as Dr. Witnesser, is a complete piece of shit.
I'm not gonna play the whole video. He kind of like, obviously you can see that he's talking about the Faithful Sheriff and then saying like Game for Hope is here. We'll all get in the description. Basically just saying like, we have our own guy. We have our own guy. It's like this entire situation is legitimately just because the Faithful Sheriff said he was moving over to Overwatch, and also the Gaming for Hope that he was going full time. And it's just like, it literally should have just been the most like non thing of all time. It shouldn't have mattered, but because of just the way the Faithful Sheriff is the absolutely religious psychosis. Like as this guy said, he goes in like to Fortnite chats and says kids are going to hell because they don't believe in his religion. It is a situation that should never happen, that happened because people are stupid. Let's just watch it happen. Let's try and instigate it as much as possible, because it is unbelievably entertaining to watch just two dumbasses like fight with each other. And I will say, like, I am not like the most in tune with either of these people. I mean, I think I know more about the Faithful Sheriff just out of sheer against my will of just seeing random stuff pull up on my page. And I also really don't know a lot about Gaming for Hope. I do know the picture. I've heard people say he kind of got rid of most of the allegations other than the homophobia one, which he kind of just like tacked to his religion, like being why he's homophobic, which like it really isn't an excuse, but yes, it's better than being in Fortnite and saying, hey kid, if you're gay, going to hell. That's kind of really it. So to pick a side, are you Dr. Chud or are you Gaming for Chud? That's what we gotta, figure out here. Leave your comment below on whose side you're on in the locale fight off. And then forget about this entire video overall, because it is probably the biggest waste of your time that you had to listen to any of these words that came out of my mouth. So have fun. And that's it. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.